It was raining, the kind of rain that soaks through your clothes and into your thoughts. I remember sitting alone in my car outside a small diner in Ohio, the engine off, the radio silent, wondering how my life had ended up feeling so empty even though it looked successful from the outside. I had a job, a house, responsibilities, but no one waiting for me, no one to share the weight of the days with. That night I didn't know it yet, but everything was about to change. My name is Ethan Miller. I was 37, divorced, and raising my 10-year-old daughter Lily on my own. Her mother had walked out years ago, chasing a life she said felt bigger than us. I stayed because Lily was my world. But loving your child doesn't erase loneliness. It just teaches you how to hide it better. That night, Lily was at my sister's place. The house felt too quiet, so I drove without a destination until hunger forced me to stop. That diner wasn't special. Flickering neon sign, cracked vinyl seats, the smell of coffee that had been sitting too long. I almost didn't go in. Almost. Inside I saw her. She was sitting alone at the counter, fingers wrapped around a mug, staring at nothing. Her hair was slightly messy, like she'd stopped caring halfway through the day. There was a sadness about her that felt familiar, like a reflection of something I carried too. Her name was Grace Thompson. Grace was 35, a nurse, and a single mother to an 8-year-old son named Noah. Her husband had died in a car accident 3 years earlier, leaving her to rebuild a life she never planned to live alone. She didn't talk about it much, not because it didn't hurt, but because the pain felt too heavy to put into words. I didn't plan to talk to her. I ordered coffee and kept to myself. But fate has a way of ignoring plans. The waitress mixed up our orders. When Grace spoke up politely, then apologized for speaking up at all, something about her voice pulled me in. I smiled without thinking and said, "Looks like we're both victims of diner chaos tonight." She laughed softly, surprised, like she hadn't expected to laugh anymore. That was it. That was the beginning. We talked about small things at first, the weather, work, how bad the coffee was. Then slowly, without realizing it, we started talking about real things. Kids. Exhaustion. The fear of failing the people who depend on you. The nights that feel longer than they should. When we finally left, the rain had stopped. The parking lot lights reflected off the wet pavement, and for the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like rushing back to an empty house. We exchanged numbers, not promising anything, not labeling it as destiny. Just two people who didn't want the conversation to end. Over the next few weeks, messages turned into phone calls into shared dinners. Lily was cautious at first. She had learned that people could leave. Noah was shy, clinging to Grace's side like he was afraid the world might take more from him. Blending two broken worlds isn't easy. There were challenges. Grace struggled with guilt, feeling like loving again meant betraying the memory of her late husband. I struggled with trust, haunted by the fear that history might repeat itself and I'd be left explaining another goodbye to my daughter. There were nights we argued. Nights we questioned whether this was worth the risk. Nights we sat in silence, wondering if love was supposed to feel this complicated. But there were also moments that felt like miracles. Like the first time Lily made Noah laugh so hard he spilled his juice everywhere. Or the night Grace fell asleep on my couch after a long shift, and I realized peace didn't have to be loud. It could be quiet and still powerful. The real test came a year later. Grace was offered a promotion at the hospital, better pay, better hours, but it meant moving to another state. She was torn. I was terrified. The idea of starting over again, of uprooting our kids, of choosing between love and stability, it felt unfair. We nearly ended it then. Not because we didn't care, but because sometimes love asks for courage we're not sure we have. One night, after putting the kids to bed, Grace looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "What if fate brought us together but not forever?" I didn't have a perfect answer. I just knew I couldn't imagine my life without her. So we chose each other. We moved. We struggled. We rebuilt. There were financial stresses, emotional setbacks, moments when the past knocked loudly on our door. But we faced them together. Years later, standing in our backyard, watching Lily help Noah with his homework while Grace watered the garden, I understood something I wish I'd known sooner. Fate doesn't bring people together to give them an easy story. It brings them together to give them a meaningful one. Love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone willing to grow with you, to heal with you, to choose you, even when it's hard.